All right, Krug Show on a Thursday night as we get ready to go to Seattle, but we got a big Thursday night stream. Sterling in the house. We got a lot to get to. Is Sam Darnold going to go? Are the Seahawks trying to muscle their season ticket holders away from selling tickets to 49er fans? Is Ricky Pearsall going to play? What is going on in Seattle? Do the Niners have a shot? How do they get it done? We get into it right now. All right, welcome to the Krug Show Thursday night, brought to you by Pig and a Pickle. The best barbecue in all of Northern California is Pig and a Pickle. Check them out there in Embryville. They're in Corte Madera. This year, they're going to be opening in Petaluma. They're open 7 days a week from 11 a.m. till 8 p.m. So check them out. Get some brisket. Go say hi to Damon and Mary. Tell them Krug sent you. We're also brought to you by Sleeper. You can see it over Sterling's head. The great Sterling Bennett is in the house. We're brought to you as well by Claudaddy Arcades. Thanks to Claudaddy Arcades for sending us to Philadelphia. We really appreciate Claudaddy Arcades. That was a great trip, and the 49ers got it done on the road. Huge win for the Niners. And, Sterling, before we get into Seattle, I haven't talked to you since the and there we go. There's our Claudaddy Arcades on there. Though Sterling's red shirt is taking the daddy part.
I'll get out of the way for a second.
Oh, look at that. Look at that. There we go. But Claudaddy Arcades. Thanks to Claudaddy, and he's got multiple locations, including for Niner fans, if you're in Northern California, Capitola. So Capitola Mall, check out Claudaddy Arcades. He's a great follow on Instagram at Claw_Daddy_Arcades to find a location near you. Thanks to Claudaddy Arcades for sending us to Philly, and also we appreciate them quite a bit. So thanks to Claudaddy Arcades for being a proud sponsor of the Krug Show. What was your takeaway from the win? What a great win last week. Niners on the road in Philadelphia. The wind was howling. It was cold. It was rough. What did you think?
Coaching matters. When you have someone like Kyle Shanahan and Robert Saleh calling plays and scheming things up defensively, it can cover a lot of the issues that your team may have. And Philadelphia doesn't have that. They don't have the right offensive coordinator. They don't have the right defensive coordinator. I don't really know what Nick Sirianni does out there. I'm surprised he still has a job, but winning a Super Bowl does that for you. But coaching matters. Obviously, Brock played great down the stretch of that game, and the defense held things together, finally tackling for once, it seems like, in the last month and a half or so. But, if you thought Kyle Shanahan wasn't coach of the year, I mean, come on. He kind of has to get it now, doesn't he?
Yeah, seriously. Somebody said, where's Larry eating in Seattle? What, are you going to poison me? I'm not. Do I sound a little paranoid? No, but I'll be at the KJR event tomorrow up in Seattle. Dave Softy Mahler is having me on. I'm not sure the name of the place, but I put it on my Twitter. So if you follow me on Twitter at SportsLarryK, my travel itinerary is not listed. My hotel is not listed, but my flight numbers are not listed. But it will tell you where I'm appearing tomorrow on KJR with Dave Softy Mahler, probably in the 6 o'clock, between 5 and 6. Check me out over there, wherever that is. And I did put that out there, but I can't really connect it right now. I could. Well, what the heck? I guess I could. Jeez. Why everything's just a touch away, and I'm sitting here going, I really can't show you where I'll be, but I can, actually. I can show you where I'll be. And stop by, say hello. There was, it's hilarious, too, because Dave Softy Mahler invited me to this thing, and here it is. I'll share the screen. You guys can see this. And then, so I'm like, KJR, it's a big radio station. He's like, well, there won't be a lot of people at this event because, blah, 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 blah. I'm like, yeah, right. Hey, come to my remote. Oh, yeah. So I tell a bunch of people to go. And then I think what's going to happen is what I'd love to have happen is like lots and lots and lots of Niner fans to descend on this place.
Just hijacks it.
Yeah, just totally hijack their whole thing. This is it. It's called the Hall on Occidental. Okay. And, it'd be hilarious would be if we went into this place, brought so many 49er fans that the owners want to kind of deal with the Krug show, as an out-of-towner, go into the KJR sponsorship and take the sponsorship away from them because we can drive more people to this restaurant/bar in Seattle than Dave can, and he's on the radio in Afternoon Drive. What do you think? That's the ultimate power play.
And it sounds like what you're trying to do is what San Francisco is trying to do on Saturday at Lumen Field and take over that place as well and hope to go out there and steal a victory. So maybe you're right. Go out there and steal some sponsors, and hopefully San Francisco can steal a win on Saturday at Lumen Field.
There you go. So check me out at the Hall on Occidental. And thanks to Softy Mahler for having me on the show tomorrow. We had him on the show earlier. All right, let's talk about checklists. What has to happen if the Niners are going to get this done?
Well, the first thing, I think it's pretty obvious, right? You have to stop the run. 180 yards you gave up 2 weeks ago against Seattle. You couldn't tackle. It was a mess, right? They were cutting back on you consistently. There was no gap discipline. It was just a disaster by San Francisco's defense 2 weeks ago when they played that Seattle offense. And I think if you want to find a way to win and you want to, again, put yourself in the best position to win, stop the run like it did against the Eagles last week and put this game in Sam Darnold's hands. I'm calling this one the eggshell game. You want to put Darnold, get some pressure on him, turn the heat up and hope that shell cracks and exposes who he actually is, a turnover machine. Fumbled 2 weeks ago. Yetur Gross-Matos couldn't pick it up. Almost threw a pick later in that game to Bernardo Green, just out of bounds. He's almost begging, wanting to turn the ball over. How do you do that? Get the ball in his hands more often, put your defense in better third down positioning, and hopefully you can stop the run, which should be a big factor if San Francisco can get a win this Saturday.
There's so much. The thing about the Seattle team that's so scary is that they have so much speed on defense.
Yeah.
It's not, and so they've got length and speed and athleticism, a lot of young, talented guys. They overwhelm teams with their size and their speed. And defensive football is about closing space, and they close the space better than anybody. They really do. They fly around. They're really fast on the second level. They're big up front. They're long in the secondary, and they got a lot of special players. I mean, and guys, as Shanahan said, that are ideally suited to this scheme. I think the only way the Niners win is if the Niners either can get, penalties or possibly, somehow by play design, Kyle Shanahan can create some space. It's going to be very difficult for them to drive the ball down the field. So they're going to need chunk yard gains. They're going to need, a big gainer, a 35-yard run, a 25-yard, pass play. They're going to need some explosives in this game. So I kind of think Ricky Pearsall coming back. I think Ricky is really an interesting guy to watch in this game because Ricky's got 4.4 speed. And I really think the way to beat this Seattle team, I don't know if the Niners really have the weapons right now to do it. The way to beat a team that's this aggressive and this long, I think, with the kind of talent that they have, is you have to have guys who can run, 4-3, who've got great ball skills, and you have great play design, and you hit them on seams, and then they bust it. Now, Pearsall potentially could do that with 4.41 speed, but, he's not 100% healthy. He hasn't played in a while. The only other guy on the roster that could do it is Jacob Cowing. I can't imagine that Shanahan would dust him off now, but I will say this. Go do your homework on Jacob Cowing. Go look at his college film. He was productive in college in two different spots. He's got ball skills. This guy caught a lot of footballs one year. I forget what year it was, but he had a lot of catches. He has 4.3 speed. Shanahan mentioned him out of the blue today. Nobody asked any question about him. They're like guys who were out. He named a couple guys, including Jair Brown. And then he's like, these other guys are on game time decisions or they're 50-50. He was on that list. Now, I asked him a couple weeks ago, or maybe earlier. Yeah, it was last week. What about Cowing? And he's like, we probably won't play him. but he has been practicing the last 3 weeks. And this guy was a very good college player. He has 4.3 speed. He was a little underpowered as a rookie, but then he had hamstring problems. But he has big time ball skills, speed, and he's exactly the kind of piece that could beat a Seattle secondary. He just hasn't played, and you know what I mean. There's no real reason to think that they would play him here. But I mean, how much gamesmanship is there? You know, this guy had his practice window open. It's not like they've been hiding him out all year, but they've been looking at this guy the last 3 weeks. I mean, if this guy's active, I think that would be very interesting. That's all I'll say.
Yeah, I think you saw 2 weeks ago, Shanahan drew up a play action shot on a 4th down, not for George Kittle, not for Christian McCaffrey, but for Sky Moore, who was wide open downfield. Pressure got to Purdy and they couldn't get things done.
Right.
Like Shanahan clearly wants to take shots and believes they can take shots downfield against the Seahawks' very aggressive defense who want to come downhill. They want to hit their guys hard, but maybe, like Philadelphia was equally, susceptible over the top. DeMarcus Robinson, big 58-yard catch in that first drive against Philadelphia. Those cornerbacks crept up. They called the shot, and it worked out in their favor. That was a big difference in that game, right? Explosive plays. Juwan Jennings, his own touchdown pass, a 45-yard reception as well. So I think San Francisco, I don't know how well they'll be able to run the football, but knowing you do have these guys, Cowling, Pearsall, hopefully he can play. I think he will, kind of in your back pocket of like, you know, whenever we need them, they may be here. Shanahan, San Francisco has no pressure on them. They have nothing to lose. It's like, hey, we got house money. We're going to Seattle. We're not supposed to be here. So let's wreck shop while we are, and I think, I don't know if Cowling plays, but in that same breath, Malik Turner had a target last weekend and he hadn't played all year and he dropped it. So it's like, if Turner can get some reps and line up incorrectly and then drop a ball the very next play, why can't Cowling? So,
well, yeah, exactly. If you're going to line up, I mean, beyond that, I mean, and I'm not trying to denounce or be negative on Malik Turner, but he is special teamer. He's a physical special teamer who can block. And I get it. I mean, I've heard this many times. It's like people talk to me. I go, I'm not listening to the same press conferences and the same quotes that you guys are. I get it. If you're gonna play wide receiver with the Niners, you got to block. But you know what? Who potentially could bust the game open? You know, Malik Turner or Jacob Cowing? Jacob Cowing. Yeah. And we're not, when I say bust the game open, if the guy had 2 catches that were down the field, he would give the team a gigantic lift.
Well, I
just
think
by that alone.
Well, take how Seattle utilizes Rashid Shaheed. They don't use him very often offensively. Right. He's a punt returner, kick return guy, but when they need a big play, it's a screen pass, it's a gadget play. And I don't know how far along Cowling is in the offense. He missed a lot of time, hasn't practiced for most of the season. So we'll see. But, there has to be some point where Shanahan does get desperate and says, we need anything, right? You called a trick play, a Juwan Jennings touchdown throw to Christian McCaffrey because you were desperate to score some points in that area. And if there is one place to be desperate to utilize some youth, like your defense, who's starting a rookie safety, 2 rookie defensive tackles, and has young guys all in that secondary, why would you not want to utilize the young guys that can get behind the Seahawks defense, or at least give you something else that your offense doesn't have right now, right? You lose George Kittle, you have Jake Tunges, you have a lot of the same archetypal receivers. You got 2 guys on your bench that can do something so different than those guys in Cowling and Watkins. You'd be dumb not to use those guys at least once in this game.
Let's hear a couple cuts here. We'll get you ready for the game with a couple interesting sound bites. This is first from Shanahan. Pressing the wrong buttons again here on YouTube. Try that again. Not sending an email. No, wrong button. Easy there. Not inviting anybody extra to the show. All right, here we go. Here's Kyle Shanahan at the presser today talking about Brock Purdy and how he operates in big moments on the road.
Brock's 4-0 in Seattle. It's obviously a loud environment. What about Brock managing the game or being loud with his cadence or Just what about Brock allows him to succeed in a loud environment?
I think the big thing is Brock doesn't get rattled. I mean, you can be as loud as you want. They're still probably not going to hear you there, especially if you're in the gun. And then we know they'll be that much louder this week. But I think it's nothing really rattles Brock. He stays the same. As you guys got to know Brock in all the situations, I don't think when you guys talk to him, whether he's had a good game, a bad game, I don't think he ever seems much different. He's always Brock, and you feel that on the sidelines throughout a game. And you felt that last week. That's what I thought was so impressive, having that interception with like 8 minutes to go and we lose the lead, and the way he came back and played the next drive after that is the perfect example of that's what I mean by, like, you can kind of see people's character, what type of people they are on the silent tape, and a guy who can act like that on that silent tape describes exactly the type of dude he is.
Yeah. You know, I mean, he doesn't get rattled was the quote that to me just stood out there. I mean, he doesn't get rattled. You know, that's a big part of this. You know, it's like you're in hostile territory on the road. Do you get rattled? I think any chance the Niners have of winning this game, it's all about Brock Purdy and Kyle Shanahan. It really is.
Yeah.
You know, and we're at the time of the year where, you know, every other quarterback still playing was taken in the top 12 picks of the first round. We're not just talking about in the first round. Brock Purdy, obviously, we know is picked 262, Mr. Irrelevant. But every other quarterback still alive was picked in the top 12 picks of round one. So to say that Brock is the exception, you know, is you know, it doesn't even speak to it. But I think he's their chance. I think he's the reason they got a shot. And I was looking at some of the numbers. I mean, Brock Purdy on the season is 8-2. And since he came back from the turf toe injury in week 11, he is got a completion percentage over 70%. That's second best in the NFL. He's third in total touchdowns. He's third in passer rating. The Niners have won 7 of 8 games. Their only loss being to Seattle. They've averaged 30 points a game in those 8 games. On third down, which is the ultimate gauge of a quarterback, in my opinion, that is the quarterback down. The Niners lead the NFL. They convert 55% on third downs. That's a lot about Brock Purdy. And then the other thing is, in the playoffs, you win when you score touchdowns over field goals in the red zone. The Niners, with Brock Purdy, offensively lead the NFL with a 71% red zone touchdown percentage. Now, I'm not saying he's perfect. You know, I watched last week as well. I was there. You know, the in cutter to JJ was wide open, and he didn't see it. Or if he didn't see it, he couldn't get him the ball, couldn't find a window, whatever. Missed that window, and then threw a ball to D-Rob that had nothing on it and went right to Quinyon Mitchell for a pick. And Jennings is there going, you know, what's going on? So I'm not saying Brock Purdy's the greatest quarterback of all time. I'm not saying he's a reincarnation of Joe Montana. I'm not. But I think he's their shot and Shanahan's their shot. I think Shanahan play design can create some space. Brock Purdy with anticipatory throws can throw to some spots. But at the end of the day, you got to go with your gut. And even though the Seahawks have tons of speed and the 49ers have Brock and Shanahan. Now, the question is, what's going to win out? Tons of speed? John Lynch's Super Bowl was about tons of speed. You know, I know you're too young to see John Lynch's Super Bowl probably, but John Lynch, believe me, as a player, won the Super Bowl. The 0-2 Buccaneers had tons of speed. The 2000 Ravens, tons of speed. The 85 Bears, tons of speed. Some of the greatest defensive ever have a lot of speed. This Seattle defense is very, very fast. Is that going to win out? Or is the great young quarterback going to win out? And I think Brock Purdy is a great young quarterback. So I'll say this. We see this matchup twice this weekend. In the AFC, we've got the great young quarterback in Drake May, and we got the awesome fast defense of the Houston Texans. In the NFC, we've got the great young quarterback in Brock Purdy and the awesome defense of the Seattle Seahawks. And to me, it's like how you see football determines that. I'm all about speed and athletes and defense, but when push comes to shove, I'm going to go with the franchise quarterbacks. I like New England and I like the Niners against those defenses.
Yeah, it's the one thing about
because of May and Purdy.
And I think that's obviously one of the biggest differences in this game, right? You look across the aisle and it's Sam Darnold, a guy that, quite frankly, their own fan base doesn't really trust just yet. Obviously had a great year, but I think we can all sit back and say, well, Brock Purdy has made some mistakes. He threw 2 picks last weekend. Hope to clean that up. You trust Brock Purdy. 2 minutes left, game on the line. You need one drive. You believe he's going to pull things out. And he'll bounce back from the mistakes he does make. And I think that, a lot of Seahawks fans, I don't know how much you want to put into this, but they're relying on the performance the defense had 2 weeks ago. And it was great. You held San Francisco to 3 points. Shanahan's lowest since 2017. It was a dismantling of the offense. But one thing they did extremely well, because there was no Trent Williams and you had George Kittle in the backfield trying to block still, and Christian McCaffrey couldn't be a check down option because he was trying to help block on top of that, is you gave Brock no outlets to throw to. Guys couldn't get open because they don't have any separators besides Pearsall. And then you had their 2 check down guys, their 2 X factors underneath guys in Kittle and McCaffrey stuck in the backfield blocking. That to me is a game changer. Now you can trust both your tackles. It helps Burford in the process, and you give who you believe your star quarterback enough time to throw those layered attempts and find guys like CMC underneath open for, hopefully 5 yards and let us do his damage afterwards. Like, I think Seattle is, or at least the fan base, is like hinging their bets on, well, we beat you 2 weeks ago. And it's like, it's not the same team. It's an entirely different team you're playing with the Hall of Fame left tackle back. And it improved offensive line because of that. And of course, I also like Jake Tunges a ton. He's not a great player, but he's a good receiver. And I think he can do some damage too. So, if you allow Brock Purdy to drop back and you give him protection, he can dissect any defense in football. I know the Seattle one is giving him fits at time. McDonald's a great defensive coordinator, but I do think Brock Purdy has the success and he also has the skill to evade pressure and make plays. You saw it last weekend against Philadelphia. The biggest difference in that game was one playmaking quarterback against one that couldn't make a play. And that's who Brock Purdy is. And I think that if they're going to win, it's going to be because of Brock's arms and legs this weekend.
Yeah, I kind of believe it as well. I also think Shanahan's going to have a big say because it just seems like he's going to have to create some space somehow, some way. Wait, we already played that. The other soundbite I wanted to play. This is, you can say whatever you want, but I mean this is the real life behind the scenes family situation that goes on watching these things. And some people would say I shouldn't play this, but I'm going to play it anyway. This was on I believe Coach Yak's Twitter. This is Kittle and some of the Niner wives reacting to watching her husband go down here in this thing. It's pretty interesting. Here we go. It's about a minute.
Get up, George. Get up.
Man, this is really tough to watch. George Kittle, one of the greatest players and one of the greatest guys, frankly.
You hate seeing somebody you love go down and being injured. It's like really brings me to tears. I'll get choked up talking about it. So hopefully we can win this game for George.
Wide open, room to run. Kyle Juszczyk, the fullback, puts his shoulders down and down to the Philly 40.
Let's go, Kyle. Go, George. Come on. George, we love you so much. We love you. Let's go. Christian, you guys are fucking balling.
I'm crying, man. I'm crying.
We shot it through the wind, but mainly the shots for George. That's why we love you, George.
I'll wheel his ass wherever we go.
Wow. What an emotional night for Niner fans. But I mean, could you imagine if that was your, that's your family member, that's your son, that's your brother, you know these people, and it's like the grind, the what it's going to take to come back. It's good stuff. I mean, I'm surprised that they put that out there, but kind of, Kittle, is willing to kind of share with the fans, which is kind of a cool thing. He kind of takes you behind the scenes. He's a real genuine guy. To me, he seems like he understands how to craft things almost perfectly publicly. You know what I mean? I mean, he's a beloved Niner. And you know what? I did a stream with David Bruce last week, and David's like, his career's over. He's never going to be here. They're going to trade him. And I'm like, and all these people start crushing David. And I was like, dude, relax, bro. He's not going anywhere. He's a career Niner. He's the kind of guy that will probably take a pay cut if he were diminished, you know what I mean, to fit under the cap to help the team. I mean, the guy is pretty special. I think he's a lifelong Niner. David's like, oh, they're gonna trade him, and it's over for him. And he is gonna be 34 before he comes back. And that was a fair point that David made. But I don't think, the Warriors are going to the finish line with a Steph Curry. I think, the Niners are going to the finish line with very few players, but I could see Kittle being almost one of them. So I don't know. How do you feel about that? He's now it was almost like a Klay Thompson injury in that he's out obviously the rest of this year, but he's really out next year.
It was brutal. I think that as a collective, we all kind of just put our head down and said, damn, like how many more hits can this team take? And unfortunately, it's not going to hurt them just this year. Like you said, it's going to hurt them next year too. And, obviously your brain goes into what next year looks like and how do you replace an all-pro that's probably going to be a Hall of Famer and whatnot. But you're right. George Kittle is a lifelong 49er. He's in the same vein of a Fred Warner. Right now, probably a Christian McCaffrey too. He's guy, and really, if you want to adopt Trent Williams into that, like those guys are probably all going to retire San Francisco 49ers, as they should. And I think that, Kittle would take a pay cut. And I think that he realizes, and they realize too, that the impact he has, not even just on the field, obviously it's great and whatnot, but in the locker room, that presence. You saw Fred Warner, and you've been there every single day, basically. Like Fred being there changes the way people talk and feel and the way they carry themselves. Even Fred practicing on Tuesday or Wednesday, whatever it was, just the way all those guys talked about, like, we don't know if he's going to play, but seeing him out there kind of pushes us to be our best today and hopefully on Saturday too. So I think, Kittle's someone you want to have in the room. I think he's someone you want to have in the meetings to help get guys ready. But also on top of that, he's a guy that that if he's in there with you, you're going to be more positive. He's a pretty positive guy, but also he just is a kind of, it's like a mindset impact.
He's their swagger. He's their swagger. Yeah. When he's out there, they have swagger. When he's not out there, they're still a good team, but they don't have that offensive swagger. He brings the attitude with the first down thing, and he just brings that, bring it on. Oh, you're fit. You think you're physical? We love being physical. Be as physical as you want. That's all you got. He talks. So, he's out there. He's jawing. He's a presence. I mean, there's no question about it. The only thing you mentioned, the Warner thing. Warner's was announced today not coming back for this game. And invariably, there was all this disappointment. And it's like, this is what I was talking about. It's like, this is why you don't talk about these things. Because why would you want to have, he's not coming, it's like, so I don't know. Not that it's like, I'm not saying he shouldn't try to get back. I'm just saying that people need to remember these guys are human beings. There's a career involved. There's a process involved. You report to training camp on like the 14th of July. You play the first game in September.
Yeah.
So now we're asking somebody to like step off the field on the first day of training camp and play the biggest game of their year the next day.
Right.
Do you see how those things don't add up? One time you get a month and a half to get ready in the warmth of the summer, and now you get 1 week to prepare. It's just so you just.
Well, Kyle also said he's not going to come back last week. So it's like you see him out there and you're excited, but realistically, we all knew It was more of a, hey, just in case we make it past Seattle, he has a practice under his belt and we can kind of figure things out as the weeks go on.
Did you hear was there a setback?
Yeah. No, he's one practice off a broken ankle. Of course,
one
no
practice. What a setback. God, people are so aggressive. All right, here's another great soundbite. And I was talking about this last week. Everybody's like, no, Krug, you got it wrong. Well, if I got it wrong, then Trent Williams got it wrong too. Here we go.
They could have had anybody. They asked for us. It's the reason why. And we're going to show them why they made a mistake. We're going to show them why they made a mistake. This start with us, man. Hey, play with pride. Play for your brother, hit him in the mouth. Let's go. Win on 3, 1, 2, 3. They could have had anybody. They asked for us. It's the reason why. And we're going to show them why.
That's what I was saying last week. That, they rested their guys, but they rested their guys. You don't think they knew that they were getting Green Bay and they wanted the Niners? Don't tell me that they just, they wanted the rest and they just would take whoever they take. No BS. They saw the Niners as a wounded animal that they were going to pounce on. Oh, you know what? We can't run the ball. We'll bring the weak-ass Niners run defense in here. We'll run it up and down the field, and that will be a perfect tune-up to get us ready. We're going to sit out Lane Johnson as well, and we're going to be really ready for that next round game after we run over them with our backup line. That's what they thought. And instead, Trent Williams at least agrees that that's what they thought. But other people said, no, it was all about them and their rest and this and that. What do you think Sirianni was thinking there? Do you think because, obviously he made the wrong call. Yeah, because even if you were resting your guys, it kind of, if you don't really go for it in pro sports, it plays like disrespect very easily. And I don't know. I think the Niners won because they were better. But who knows? Maybe they were more motivated. Maybe they were more fired up. Maybe this lit their fuse. What do you think?
Yeah, I think Philadelphia, whether it was intentional or not, they have rested their players in previous years leading into the playoffs. So there is a history of this, but I do think in some capacity there has to be this thought of, well, San Francisco has none of their defensive stars. They don't have the number one wide receiver out there. Like, why shouldn't we want to play them? Would you rather play Green Bay or would you rather play San Francisco? I think one of those is a clear answer, but that obviously would change knowing what we saw this past weekend. Green Bay loses on the road and San Francisco walks into Philadelphia and, snatches a chain or two. And I think Philadelphia always felt like kind of a sitting duck of like the offense is kind of stuck in the mud. And I don't really think it would have mattered who they played, quite frankly. I think they just kind of were behind the 8 ball. Jalen Hurts finally got exposed for who he actually is. Probably a bottom 15 quarterback in the NFL. And Eagles fans didn't want to hear that. And I've been telling them, like, he cannot see the middle of the field. Everything's towards the sideline. And I get it. The offensive coordinator isn't great. But I also just think, in the middle of a playoff hunt, you can't take your foot off the gas. And I think Philadelphia, whether it was intentional or not, I think the intention was to get guys rest leading into a playoff game, but they took their foot off the gas. And I think San Francisco, week 18, it was almost a good thing to kind of get smacked in the mouth because it kind of resets you of like, oh, like, wait a minute, like we aren't going to win 7 games going into the playoffs and be riding our high horse. We can get smacked in the mouth, kind of learn a little bit about ourselves, retool some things and fix some things and walk into Philadelphia and get a win. Whether it's Philadelphia kind of just sat there and said, bring us San Francisco and we'll see what happens.
Marquise Siegel is drawing the start over Jair Brown this week because of the injury to Brown. Here's Siegel.
I'd say it slowed down a lot. I guess I was able to see a lot more because I was able to make a lot of plays. But I feel it's been the same from my mindset. Obviously, I developed more. I've seen more now. So, yeah, I'll say it slowed down a little bit for me.
How do you think Siegel's going to play? You know what? Here, the one thing that's so weird about this is literally, the Niners are literally the last team that Seattle played. And yet, with Siegel in for Brown and Wallow and Kendricks healthy at linebacker, they're quite a bit different as a defense. That's a big change in a short amount of time. And I think they're better. What do you think?
Yeah, I think just from a tackling standpoint, again, going back to week 18, they missed 18 plus tackles. And I think 15 of those were from the second and third levels of that defense. And it was Bethune and Winters and Jair Brown missing most of them. You just pluck those guys out of the lineup and you put in Kendricks and Wallow and Siegel, who, yeah, they may give up some things in coverage, but they are better fundamental tacklers. And if you can do that on a 3rd and 17, maybe you have a win week 18. Who knows? And I think that Seattle has, they saw Siegel week 1, but that's again, 19 weeks ago, whatever it is now. I think Siegel's probably a better player. He sat for most of the year after getting benched in week 5 against the Rams. He kind of got an opportunity to kind of be on the bench, see things from a different perspective and kind of gain some knowledge and kind of let the game kind of come to him rather than kind of going at the game. And I believe that one thing San Francisco's defense with Winters, Bethune, and Jair Brown did often was over pursue when they were in run fits and their gaps. And I don't think you see that with Kendricks and Wallow and Siegel. So if I'm Seattle, I think I want to test the young safety early, right? Take a deep shot and see, where his head's at, and let's kind of get him rattled early if you can. But I kind of believe that Siegel can not be a leader in that room, but I think on the back end, almost sure things up, because Jair Brown was atrocious all year. And it was clear, this team does not have 2 starting safeties. And Siegel may get exposed. Who knows? I think the deep ball is a big problem. His in coverage is not his strong suit, but this tackling, I think you will see an improvement there like you saw in Philadelphia last weekend.
He's got 4.3 speed. He used to play corner. So he, how bad of a cover guy could he be? I mean, as a safety, we'll see. I mean, I like Siegel. I thought Siegel made the most sense when you looked at his skill set to play next to Mustafa. And I'm encouraged by the way he played. Let's hear from Sam Darnold, because the big story today was that he's got this oblique, and I didn't realize we had this soundbite. Here it is. A little bit of Sam Darnold on his oblique.
Kind of felt a little something in my oblique. Just didn't want to push it. Wasn't the day to push it, so that was it. So just came inside, got some rehab, and feel like I'll be ready to go for Saturday.
That was just today.
So I guess according to the media people that I talked to down there earlier, they just went into this, presser, and they're like, they read the thing, and they're like, Darnold, questionable with oblique, and then people are like, what? That's how they announced it to the media. And then Darnold came out afterwards to explain, a little bit more and add a little bit more to it. But I mean, could you imagine if they just left that, if Darnold didn't come out and address that? They just, Darnold, oblique, no comment. It's like, what? That's kind of a major deal. But you know what? I don't know. I mean, what this is you've got Brock Purdy's clearly the better quarterback than Sam Darnold, but it's not about that. It's Brock Purdy against a really, really fast defense, and Sam Darnold against a defense that in week 18 couldn't stop the run at all. I'll say this on the to-do list. You have to be able to stop the run. Absolutely. You got to be able to stop A.J. Barner in the red zone, because he's a major threat for them. You also have to be able to defend. To me, the thing about the Seahawks that's like gut punch is, you're working to defend the run. You're working to defend the run. You're working to defend the run. And everything's really very difficult. And then out of nowhere, Darnold will throw an 18-yard laser to JSN. And you look at it and you're like, it's a timing-based cut route, right? It's either an in cut or it's an out route, and it's 18 to 25 yards, and Darnold can throw that pass on a freaking rope. And then JSN is so precise with his footwork that, how are you going to defend that? I mean, they're literally timing routes, on cut patterns, and it takes a really talented arm to make that throw, but that's Darnold. He's a very talented arm. And it takes a really, a receiver that has great footwork, route running, hands, but also explosiveness. And JSN has all that. So that to me is the biggest bummer, is that you're fighting them, you're defending them, and all of a sudden JSN for 22. And it looks so easy.
Yeah. The chemistry both those guys have is off the charts. We've seen Darnold all year. You saw it against the Rams the second time they played, making that big comeback, because he just has one, a great arm strength and accuracy, but two, he just knows where the ball needs to be. Now, you wish maybe Kyle Shanahan and Brock Purdy didn't help him so much because it seems to have improved a lot since his time in San Francisco. But I would say one thing I'm looking forward to, and I think it was a hindrance of San Francisco's defense the last time this team played, was going back to linebackers. One thing Tatum Bethune, who I like a lot, 7th round draft pick, in year 2, has, I think, a really bright future, whether it's here or somewhere else, who knows. But he, after coming back from the injury, was really hesitant, didn't trust his eyes, didn't trust what he saw. And I think you're not going to have that problem with Eric Hendricks and probably Garrett Wallow too. They play the game longer. They've seen every coverage. They've seen everything. They know what to expect. And yeah, the guys may be faster and stronger and whatnot across from them, but to have those guys over the middle of the football field where Darnold loves to live, I think that will be a big difference. There was a cut or a comebacker in week 18 where Bethune sees it, but he's kind of stutters, or I think Kendricks will break that up. And that's obviously one example of a very, very large game plan and whatnot. But I don't know.
My concern is that at the end of the day, Kendricks and Wallow don't quite have the speed of a top tier coverage linebacker. And while Philly and their dysfunction with their offensive coordinator, they could not take advantage of it. I just got a feeling that the Niner linebackers are going to get isolated in open spaces against more athletic players in this game and maybe get burned for a couple of big gainers. That's my big concern.
Well, it's about the crossers, right? This Seahawks offense is basically what Shanahan does, albeit with some wrinkles involved, which maybe that's why you see D. Winters start instead of Walla, Winters is obviously a better athlete. I don't know how his health is and whether he's 100% or 85%, who knows. So maybe you do see a wrinkle involved in there. I kind of wish in a roundabout way that Jair Brown was healthy, because San Francisco wants to utilize that big nickel package, right? To kind of avoid getting beat on the crossers and whatnot. And it'll probably be Pinnock again, which I don't love that. I think he's had a pretty bad year overall. But you're right. You have Cooper Kupp, you have Shaheed, you have JSN. Those guys are dangerous over the middle of the football field. And if you get those guys towards a boundary and the seams, Darnold has really shown, we'll see what his arm looks like tomorrow or on Saturday, excuse me, that those lasers are coming in there and they're coming in hot. So it is a sense of you have fresh legs on San Francisco's defense that maybe can shock us again. But also you have what has been a very proven offensive player of the year candidate roaming that Seahawks offense that looked unstoppable for the last 19 weeks or so.
Who are your winners this weekend? Who do you like in the games?
I love Denver. I love that defense. I don't love Bo Nix, but I love Sean Payton and what he does. I just love that defense and how they played all year. I also love the Houston Texans, man. That defense, the way they got after Rodgers, very different offense than what Patriots do, but they have the best 2 edge rushers in football, and they can win a game by themselves. And I think that you get Drake May, second career playoff game, maybe settle down somewhat after a tough game against the Chargers, which is ugly late. I think you can rattle him. I think that'll be a big difference maker. And then you have the Rams and Chicago. I mean, who am I to say McVay and Stafford don't win the whole thing this year? They've been the best team pretty much all season, and they have they're just riding high. They're the best offense in football for a reason. And I think Chicago's defense can't stop anything. So I'll pick the Rams, Texans, and the Broncos this weekend.
All right. I'm going I'll go the other way. I like Josh Allen. I just think Josh Allen's better than Bo Nix, and I know Denver's good at home. Denver's got a great defense, but I don't know. Sean Payton, by the way, I thought brought bad karma when he talked down to the reporter. What do you know about it? Attacking downhill in the run game. What do you know about it? I mean, it's like, I don't know. Nobody likes the media, so nobody cares that he's browbeating the media. But it's just like It's like,
would you rather Sean Payton?
It's just kind of weak. It's weak. It's like, what if, what if some TV guy sat there and said, I saw your interview what do you know about doing interviews? You know what I mean? Like, it's like because he doesn't do that many, that many TV interviews, and the TV guy does more. I mean, it would just be it's just what are you, a dick? You're just a dick. I mean, it's just like it's seriously. I mean, Sean Payton. It's like I mean, I don't mind that kind of behavior and talking down to people, but and I get it, and he's right, but still, it's like, dude, you're kind of a jerk. It's like,
would you rather Sean Payton talk down to the media, or you rather the reporter glaze Liam Cohen after a loss in Buffalo?
Well, I didn't like that either, because that was like she was allowed to give her opinion, and she crossed a line because that's not the place for her opinion, and the only reason that we allowed it is because it was positive. Well, what if her opinion had been that he was horseshit? Should she not get to voice her opinion then, because her opinion's negative? The point is, there's a place and time for your opinion, and a press conference is not. I give opinions all the time. I'll rip the Niners to shreds every which way if they lose, complaining about every weakness on the team. But I don't go there at the press conference and be like, hey, you got, Kyle, I know you're getting criticism, but I just want to say, man, none of these guys, could you imagine how pathetic that would be if I stood up at a press conference and be like, Kyle, I know you get, criticism and everything, but you're one of the best coaches in football. And if they
you're
don't
the coach of the year,
you could be the coach of the year. I mean, you didn't have Bosa, you didn't have this, you didn't have that. Keep your head high, man.
Be proud of yourself, man.
Kyle, be proud of yourself, man. Hold your head high, and don't let these other guys get you down. Don't let anybody drag you. It's like, that's.
I just imagined all the eyes kind of turned and were like, what is happening? like they just lost a playoff game, and I get it. You want to give them a little pep talk.
It's
but
like she should have said that to him in the hallway. Say it to him.
Right.
Say it to him in the corridor. I mean, like that's what you say to Kyle Shanahan in the hallway outside the interview room. Hey, bro, you had a great year. Hold your head high. Seriously. I mean, I could say I could see myself saying that to somebody, to a John Lynch or a Kyle Shanahan. Hey, hold your guys' heads high. But I'm not going to do it at the press conference with the nation listening or whatever, and 19 other people looking to write a story, and I'm sitting there taking out a minute to sit there and glaze. Yeah, I mean, it's just not right. It's just maybe, I just your opinion. If you notice, people attacked every weird angle: her age, her race, her this, everything but what was pertinent, which is. Have you heard the difference between a question and your opinion?
Right.
What other person gives their opinion? Now, if you want to give your opinion like as a premise to your question, hey, in the second half, it really looked like you guys struggled to stop the run. What happened there?
Right.
That to me is fair game. I do it myself all the time, right? Hey, Kyle, you guys were 1 for 14 on third downs. Why could you not convert on third down? That's a fact, actually. That's not an opinion. But, if I stated a fact like an opinion, maybe I don't have the stat in front of me. Hey, you guys were really bad on third down tonight. What happened? It comes across like my opinion, but it's really just a statement of fact. So I don't know, but
it also seems like a lot of people, and it's no one's fault, but like people haven't been in that room, and I don't want to talk down on somebody. It's not my place. Who am I, right? But like, if you aren't in the room and you don't know what that room is for, and like everything is a time and place, right? Timing's everything. Like that has felt like, okay, like you can say that, like you said, in the hallway. You see Kyle, talk to the PR people, say, hey, can I talk to him for a second? I have a question, blah, 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 like whatever. But like, I don't know. It just felt like people that aren't in the media don't really understand like how that felt out of line for a lot of people. Which I mean, teach their own, whatever, I'm not going to go into a construction site and tell people how to do their job. So, my hands are off, but here we are.
Well, I mean, I don't know. I mean, the press conference is a fact-finding mission, is it not?
Right. Yeah.
It's not for us to give our opinions. It's not a sorority gavel pass. You know what I mean? You're not sitting there, I'm Larry, and I think that the run game was a problem, and now I'll hand it to Sterling.
Yeah.
Hi, I'm Sterling, and I'm from here. And I think that the lack of pass rush is a problem, and I'm going to hand it to Grant. You know, that's not what we're doing there. It's questions and answers. We ask questions, they give answers.
Yeah.
I mean, it's if anybody making that into anything other than that's not what she did is looking to talk about other things and using this as a crutch to get there.
Right.
That's really the bottom line. Because the real issue was she didn't ask a question, and it's a question and answer session.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Yeah, you're right. You are right.
And then here, I'll give one other bit of advice to people, and I'm not going to talk down to people, but I have to give this bit of advice right now. Try to ask your question in less than 10 words. What?
This is a gripe you had for a while, and I know that, so I'll let you do your thing.
I mean, if you're a host of a radio show, if you're at a press conference, if you're just asking a question to anybody in life, and I'm an offender, I do it myself, so I know it's hard, but especially in a nationally, these press conferences are going nationwide on the NFL Network. You know what I mean? It's like, and always know what your question is going to be before you start talking. Don't start talking with premises. And the other one is don't answer your own question. Kyle, tonight was the issue, and if you want to throw it out there so he kind of understands the different scope, because I do it myself, then do it. But don't ask the question and then, was it this? Could it have been this? Could it have been that? Could it have been this? Could it have been that? Because then it takes 45 seconds and then you can see he gets annoyed. You can see he gets annoyed. Give me the Seahawk defender. If you could put on the 49ers tomorrow, you would put on the 49ers tomorrow.
Ooh, man. I mean, my heart wants to say Nicky Manwari, but Upton Stout's been playing so good. I think I would probably pick Uchenna Nwosu on the outside.
Wow. Okay.
Bigger body guy, can get to the quarterback, rush the passer, get his hands up. Obviously, was one of the big reasons why Purdy threw that interception 2 weeks ago. And that's probably where San Francisco misses, an impact player the most is up front. So I'd probably give them either him or DeMarcus Lawrence, run stuffing defensive lineman on the interior movement side. But yeah.
To me, I like Byron Murphy. He's just so fast, and you talk about 300 pounds, and when you have that kind of speed up front, you got Leonard Williams with him up front. I mean, those two guys just absolutely wreck shop. Absolutely wreck shop. Okay, couple. Let's hit some supers here. We have a few supers. We got a couple comments that aren't supers, but I want to throw them out here. Porterhouse, Larry, can the 49ers run the ball effectively without George Kittle? That's to be seen. I mean, Luke Farrell, come on down. Can the Niners run the ball? Forget without George Kittle. The Niners couldn't run the ball at all in the last game, and their second level speed is so great that it's hard to get free. It's hard to get free. They got a lot of speed on that second level. That Drake Thomas, very underrated player. So I think it's gonna be challenging. If the Niners are gonna run, they're gonna have to get it blocked up inside, which is gonna be difficult because they've got a big, strong defensive line.
People are making a lot of comments about the wide zone, and they didn't utilize that week 18. And that's true because Trent wasn't out there, but it's like San Francisco's run success this year has not been even utilizing the wide zone. It's been gap. And so I think San Francisco, whether it's Trent or Kyle Juszczyk, like should be improved in that aspect. But you're right, not having Kittle. You saw it early in the season. They couldn't run the football at all. They didn't have their first rushing touchdown till like week 8 against Tampa Bay. In a long time. And so, yeah, we'll see. But
by the way, I didn't make all my picks. I'm going Bills, Niners, Pats, Bears.
Okay. I will also add that I will pick the Niners this weekend.
Okay. We got this chat. It's not a super chat, but it is a chat. I need from Gobble. I need to bitch about Kyle Tucker. Why even pay attention to baseball this year? Effing disgusting. If you missed it,
yeah.
Kyle Tucker went to the Dodgers. And Mets fans are okay with it, right? I mean, they're cool with it. I'm pretty sure. Oh, wait, let's see. We got a Mets fan right here. Let's see. Let's see if he's cool with it.
Is that Brewski from The Longest Yard?
Is this guy going to be cool with it that the Mets didn't get him? We'll find out.
You gotta be fucking kidding me. Kyle Tucker to the Dodgers? I thought he was going to be a fucking Met. Of all things. What are we looking at, a three-peat now? You fucking pussy. What's going on? MLB, do something. Enough is enough. Boom!
Wow. My favorite quote of his from Longest Yard is, I shouldn't have had that popcorn every single time the ball comes out of his hands. It's like this perfect. Every excuse in the book, he's got it.
Boom! That was awesome. Baseball needs a salary floor. They need to, I had this debate with my kid, my 15-year-old. He's like, doesn't think there's any problem. Look, would you think there was a problem if there was one team in the NFL that had just like an abundance of talent that was just like way, way better than the rest of the teams? And all the rest of the teams were playing for second place. Would it be as exciting? Would the Super Bowl, would the playoffs, NFL playoffs, be as exciting if there was one team that you just knew at the end was going to win the Super Bowl by 4 touchdowns? And you knew it like months in advance.
It'd be terrible.
Yeah.
It would.
So that's what baseball is. That's what baseball is. Baseball. And I don't want to complain, because if I said it a different way, hey, I'm going to run a really successful business, and then I'm going to take a lot of the revenue that I make, and I'm going to pour it back into my business. Am I a good businessman? I'd say, yeah, you're a good businessman. Well, that's what the Dodgers are doing. They're making a lot of money, and they're reinvesting their revenue back into their product. That's a good businessman. But they're in a league where we have to compete, with everybody's got to compete. There's got to be more elements. Now, I will say this. It's not like baseball has nothing there. The Dodgers, by signing Kyle Tucker today, lost 4 of their top 6 amateur draft picks next June. So is that something? I would probably say that over the course of time, that probably is something. You have 6 top picks, and let's say in the top, whatever, 150 or 200 or whatever it is, and now you only have 2. So, it's not like baseball's trying to incentivize. They're trying to do everything but have a cap. But what they really need is not a cap, is they need a floor to force the bottom teams to spend more. Because right now, the owners of the teams on the bottom are like, if I can spend $100 million, carve myself out a nice tidy profit, and I'll do that instead of spending $150 million and maybe compete for a wild card, but not make any profit. You know what I mean? So it's like, you got to somehow incentivize these teams. You got to bring, if you're going to have a league and teams are going to play each other, you got to bring their finances somewhere together somehow. And I know that sounds un-American, and it is. In some ways, baseball is the ultimate American sport, because in America, we have capitalism. And in capitalism, you have winners and you have losers. And you have people that win all the time, make tons and tons of money. And then you have people, it was sad as hell. I was coming back from the Eagle game. It was freezing outside. freezing. I mean, my phone said 22 degrees, feels like 18. I waited 7 minutes outside with my heaviest jacket, a big old Carhartt beanie, hands, no gloves, but hands in pockets, sitting there. 7 minutes seemed like an eternity. We drove to our Airbnb in downtown Philly. We're passing people who are sleeping on the street.
Man.
Sleeping on the street in 18 degrees makes sleeping on the street on Market Street in San Francisco look like Club Med. 18 degrees and you're sleeping on the street?
That's crazy.
Terrible. What it is terrible. It's absolutely terrible. Where am I eating in Seattle? Let me tell you what posh, and I'll go transition from that to what posh 5-star establishment. No, I have no idea. I have no
what
idea.
Michelin star restaurant I'm going to be at.
Yeah, exactly. Niner forever. Yo, Larry, what's your opinion on the Dodgers signing Kyle Tucker? They're winning the next 3, LOL. What's my opinion? What do you think about it? I'm fucking pissed. What do you mean was my opinion? I'm fucking pissed. What do you think my opinion is? I fucking hate it. I just stated it. Joseph Ernberg, 35-6 Seattle will put us down like a sick dog. Rest in peace. Ernberg, I think, did he say Niners were going to win last week? I thought he went against them. We got this one. Tyler says this game on Saturday night will be super intense and exciting. The Niners and Seahawks hate each other with a passion. The Niners win 24-20. I like that. I have 24-14.
Oh, wow.
24-14 49ers. Excuse me.
Okay. I have 26-23 Niners.
We're in the same ballpark. Basically,
we're
same
close.
Ballpark. JC, Damon is shot. Sign likely Njoku or Pitts to pair with Tonjes. Then when George returns, we can run a more dangerous 13 personnel package than the LA Rams. Yeah, I would do the same thing. Go sign a good tight end like a Likely or a Pitts, and then go and find a good tight end in the draft, and then replace George without replacing him. And then when George comes back, he'll just add to your awesome tight end arsenal. That's what I would do in that situation. I agree.
Do you think San Francisco's a little in trouble though from a skill position standpoint? So Ayuk's going to be gone. Kittle's going to be on the shelf for most of next year.
Yeah, they need weapons.
Like you might lose Juwan Jennings. Hopefully I think they should bring him back, but they may lose him too.
Yeah.
Like you're walking in the next year with Pearsall and Chris McCaffrey off of what could be 500 touches if they go all the way. Like it's not really where you want to be offensively. Obviously Shanahan and Purdy are great, but like they may need to, you have Jordan Watkins and Cowing and who knows what happens there, but like they to me are in a very dangerous spot from an offensive skill position standpoint walking in the next year. Now that Kittle's going to be out for most of the season.
Oh, I think that's a good point. I mean, they're going to have to find some playmakers. It's doable, but I do expect Watkins and Cowing, to step up and start to be better. Because I think they're good players. I really do. So we'll see, but they're going to have to invest in some other guys for sure.
Would you be open to signing Tyler Higbee, Rams tight end, bring him over to San Francisco? No,
because I just think he's too beat up at this point. Okay. I want a younger player. We got this one. If you could bring back one Niner from the past in their prime to help us beat the Hawks Saturday, who'd you choose? Oh, there's no doubt. This team is a one wide receiver team. I would want Deion Sanders. Hey, Deion, to go guard JSN. All right, now we're going to win.
Wow. Yeah, that's a good one.
You take away JSN, and then all of a sudden, what? It's Rashid Shaheed. I mean, come on. We're with Sam Darnold. If we had Deion Sanders, we're winning this game. I mean, no problem. I mean, then everybody, you could just sell out to stop the run. I'll take JSN anywhere he goes. Deion traveled. So anywhere he went, he would just be there with them. Deion Sanders for sure.
Yeah.
Though I wouldn't mind Aldon Smith in his prime. Remember he was just an amazing player too. Aldon Smith was just so great for a short amount of time. Batman 29 says Saleh versus Clint Kubiak. Who does better on Saturday? I think it's really about what quarterback takes care of the football. I really do. In this game. We have this one from Mr. Bean says, hey, I'm Mr. Bean. Niner forever. In your opinion, lockout coming for Major League Baseball? Yes. Yes. I don't know how soon, but I think what's coming. Mr. Bean says, funny to think Ayuk would get a ring if they won. Oh, God.
Would he? Technically?
Yeah.
Because he left the team?
I think he'd still get one. I don't know if he'd ever wear it
Would they give it to him?
Yeah, would he wear it around town? Could you imagine? I asked Shanahan today, I said, Kyle, if you were trying to describe Juwan Jennings to somebody who'd never seen him play, and you were trying to describe him, how would you describe him? And he's like, he's a true competitor. And he said, and he goes on to say a bunch of great things about him. He's tough and this and that. He plays big in big games and this and that. But then he's like, I have ultimate respect for Juwan Jennings. How about that? Ultimate respect for Juwan Jennings. That's big. That is absolutely big. A couple mentions before we get out of here. Thanks to Claudaddy Arcades for sponsoring our trip to Philly. Thanks to Sharp Corner Sports Cards and Collectibles. Check them out. Anthony Catania's at 831-521-5264. Thanks to Sleeper. Fortnite football season is presented by Sleeper, the fastest growing fantasy platform in the world. It's a one-stop shop. You get blazing fast news, real-time stats, group chat, season-long leagues, and, of course, Sleeper picks for daily fantasy. Use promo code Larry, and Sleeper will match your first deposit up to $100. Links in the description, and terms and conditions do apply. And last but certainly not least, thank you to our friends at Habas Law. You know, Habas Law, my dad was a lawyer. My brother's a judge. My sister is an attorney. You know, having the right attorney means everything. And Habas Law, they're fantastic. 1-800-INJURED. They will fight to make it right. Omar Habas, Tarek Habas, and the entire Habas Law team are really good, really good. If you're in a pinch, if you've been injured and you want to win, there's only one call to make. Habas Law, 1-800-INJURED. They will fight to make it right. Thanks to Habas Law for being a proud sponsor of the Krug Show. Sterling, I'll give my final pick here. I'm going to say 24-14. Niners beat the Seahawks in Seattle. You're going with?
49ers, 26-23 over Seattle.
26-23. We both have the Niners moving on to the NFC title game. For Sterling, I'm Larry. Peace.
Yeah, never met a man I've been scared of. Careful, you gon' get